Mm.
This is Lee Cox, and you're watching the Break It Down show.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. My man Lee Cox is in the car studio. We were just talking about how, like uh, Elon Musk is always adding things to his cars, right? Like his car can dance and everything else. And we really got to get to the point where we know that we're going to be doing lives from cars, right? And so it should really be a full on studio in there.
Right, for sure. For sure, yeah. Absolutely. Like I said, it drives itself. I see people sleep while they're riding, so why not add a recording a recording module to it or something?
One of
Easy.
the things I
Big screen.
go ahead.
No, I said it's a big huge screen in there, so all you have to do is just press record. Why not add it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So one of the questions I love to ask folks who act is when you go to a party, I'm like, oh, what do you do? You can legitimately say I'm an actor, but like it's like a comedian. You can be a comedian, you can be a national headliner, and people are like, I never heard of you, right? Like, and so there's this levels of acting, like, oh, I'm an actor. Oh yeah, that's right. You're George Clooney. Everybody knows that. But when
Right.
you're a professional actor, you can do I mean anything and make a legitimate living as an actor. So when you go to a party, what do you say you do?
I tell them I'm an actor. I tell them I'm an actor. I mean, I have other businesses, but I've been doing this so long. So I tell them I'm an actor. I've been in. I'm recognizable, depending on if people watch, the shows that I've been in. But yeah, I tell them I'm an actor, nothing else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's so what would you say your level of acting is? I mean, do you feel like, I mean, obviously you're not just getting started. You've been at this for decades now, but how do you characterize, would you say you're a journeyman? What do you do?
I say, yeah, a journeyman is a good way to put it. I've been in some good things. Still in my pursuit of my lead role. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so I can say a journeyman. I've been in it for so many decades, a few decades. Now this makes 30 years.
Right.
So, so this makes 30
Yeah.
years. So I could say definitely a journeyman. I'm not a mega star, but I'm a star in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, and if you were to tell yourself 35 years ago that you'd have this much success, you would have been tickled, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's like I say, it's 35 years ago I was in high school, or no, 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 I was in middle school. 35
Uh-huh.
years ago.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so yeah, I wouldn't, and I wasn't. That wasn't even on my radar. I did like entertaining though. I was dancing and doing other things. I was playing instruments and stuff. So I like entertaining.
Yeah.
But
I like it too. 35 years ago I was in high school or middle school. I was just
right,
in
right,
middle school. Yeah. And if you would have told me, yeah, like you'd be talking to Lee Cox or you'd be talking to, look, I have the DOC's phone number in my phone, right? I can text it with him. I don't fuck with him. I don't bug him unless I got something for him. But if I
right,
got something for him, I can send the DOC a text. That's ridiculous that
right,
that you can have these things.
right. That's crazy. I got some people's phone numbers in my phone now that it's like, wow. What I go
Yeah.
through. Got some.
Here's a number I have in my phone. Sly Stone.
Ah,
Yeah. And again, I don't fuck with him, but if I need to get a hold of him, I can call him and be
that's
like,
awesome.
"Hey, Sly. Who blows you away that you meet? Like when you go to do your work and you look around, you're like, I can't believe I'm here."
Let's see. Who do I work with? I mean, I've been on the set with James Earl Jones,
Wow.
and that's iconic to the max for me because
Yeah.
I just he's superb. And in the same breath, I've been on set with Bill Cosby, and
Wow.
I know he went through his little stuff, but I mean just the iconic side. Uh, back in the '90s, I worked with him. Um, it's just I've been on, and even like as far as like The Wire, just some of the actors in The Wire that I was fans of before um, we shot The Wire. So uh,
Yeah. Well,
just
I mean, Idris Elba, right? Like,
oh yeah, we partied a lot during The Wire days. Me and Idris, so we
right.
we went to a few parties. Yep, so we had a good time, man.
we had Daphne Maxwell Reed on the show, and
Okay.
she, Tim Reed's wife, right? And
Mm.
she's an actor. He's an actor, obviously. And we were talking to her about Bill because she knew Bill from way back. We're like, how do you deal with that? And she's like, Bill Cosby is my friend.
Yeah.
He's done some terrible things, but
Yeah.
that doesn't absolve. She's like, in particular with him, it doesn't erase some of the incredible things he's done. And the list of things he did, whether it was like the Cosby Show. Like if you weren't alive when the Cosby Show was on, you don't realize how powerful that was, or even his
Right.
cartoons and all the work he did to. And I hate to say it, but to normalize a regular black family in America, right? Like to make
Right.
us go, oh, well, they got doctors and successful people, and they have high standards for that. What is all this stuff? Like all these things, and that's just the acting side. Like all of
Right.
the help knocking down barriers. How do you see Bill Cosby? Like, how do you see him and his legacy?
I mean, like I said, when that happened, I was, like everybody else, I was like, man, this is not this is not what it's supposed to be. I was hurt. Um, I just think, I mean, I still see him, like I say, aside work wise,
Yeah,
it was just, like I say, he broke down a lot of barriers for African American actors, and the same thing how, him and Sidney Poitier. The movies they've done. I mean, iconic. I still watch the movies they've done. I still, uh, watch old movies that they're in. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like he's older. That stuff that all that stuff that he went through, it's just mind blowing. It's like a fog. You know what I mean? It's like a fog.
yeah,
Like, dang, did he go through that? Like, man, that's just try to steer clear of that. And I don't talk about it too much to people. I mean, I worked with him for a whole summer, so I really
sure,
got to I wasn't on the Cosby Show. I didn't work with him for years, but a whole summer I got to feel what he was like as a person. And he was genuine, nice. His wife was there all the time. It was real cool just to see him as a regular person, and
his
funny, comedic, very
yeah.
you know. So yeah. I that's my vision of him. What America thought of him when all that went through. Like I said, if it happened, it's horrible. Pay the price. That's
Yeah.
what it is. But yeah, I think he was from my experience, he was a good guy.
If you look at, I mean, if you put a life onto a scale, right? We all have stuff on the bad side, but boy, his stuff on the good side. I mean, you talk about like the civil rights movement in the '60s
Right.
and everything. Some of that stuff doesn't happen without him. He is he's indelible to the entire movement for African Americans, and
Mhm.
again, not just normalizing on TV, but
Right.
funding Martin Luther King speaking. Like he's the guy that hires out the damn podium and PA. It's a short list of people who have done more in that era than him.
Right.
Very, very short. Yeah. It's crazy. And I think there's other examples of this where you have deeply flawed people who do incredible things.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
It's just
All right. Let's not talk about Bill Cosby anymore. Um, James Earl Jones and I share a birthday, so I've always been a big fan of his. He and Betty White, Ali, all of us are all
yeah,
born on the same
you're
day,
right.
January 17th.
January 17th.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. It's a good
Yeah.
day.
It's a fun day. Let me get back into acting. So you're in this new show called Snap. It's coming is it out now or is it releasing when is it coming out?
Thursday. Thursday.
Thursday. Okay. I'm going to put a link for that in here right now. Tell us a
AMC.
little bit about Snap.
All black. Um, it's a psychological. It's a 6 episode miniseries,
Okay.
and it's a psychological thriller. I play a character named DJ,
Okay.
kind of in charge of a Black Lives Matter kind of protest movement thing. Um, it's a pretty deep show because each episode's about something different. So it's like they frame it as a psychological thriller, and so yeah, like each episode's about just different things that we go through in life, as as uh as Black Americans or just Americans in general. Just different facets of life, and I think people from all walks of life, when they tune in, they'll be like, "Wow, okay, so this is how it is."
Yeah.
Oh wow, I've experienced that myself. So it just gives a clear picture of and a clear depiction of what's going on.
Right. I put a link down below for everybody. You can look in the if you're on YouTube, you can look in the comments. I think on Facebook on the Break It Down Show thing, that'll be there, or you can just type in AMC Network Snap, and then it'll come up. Are we getting better at this? I mean, before George Floyd died, since George Floyd died, there's a lot more faces of color in commercials and TV shows. But my buddy Hilliard, I don't know if you know Hilliard Guest, but he writes shows. He's black, and he said, "Yeah, they're hiring more people to do more things." He's like, "But they don't got black people greenlighting shit at studios." And
Right.
so he's like, "There's still a long way to go." It's like if you're in that big tower making the big money decisions, same people still. So have we gotten better, or are we just is this just part of the? I don't know. Where do you think we're at, man?
I'm gonna
I
say
got
this.
easy questions today. Easy questions.
No, hey, they're wonderful questions though. So I'm gonna say this. As far as that goes, I'm gonna say we're always, I think, edging towards getting better, and
Hmm.
things are moving into a get better. They're getting better. Um, more writers, more. But I get what Hilliard was saying about actually green lighting these shows and the funding
Yeah.
to them and things like that. We still have to get into that realm. We haven't crossed that realm, but we are starting to get more black writers hired. Uh, more writers just to tell the story.
Right.
And so I think we're all making a lot of progress on that aspect. I would still like to see more of us on TV shows. You know, as far as sometimes it's TV shows that we're on, and we're I
Yeah.
might be the only black guy on the show, and that's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But I would like to see more inclusion on that side. But I still think we're moving forward in the right direction though.
And do you feel like when you are the only black guy on a show, are you playing the black guy, or are you playing like like look, you were a cop on The Wire, right? But you weren't playing a black cop. You were playing a cop,
Okay.
as far as how I saw the role.
Right.
So what do you? I mean, like, are you two characters in one because you're a black dude, or are you getting hired because you actually anybody could take that role and it happens to be you that wins it? Maybe that's the way to say it.
Right. And I get it. Like as far as playing two roles, that's for I like how you put that. But that's um you could say that, but I think I would rather be just looked at as a character on the show rather than
Yeah.
the black friend or the black, you know what I mean? Just the
Hmm.
character on the show. Like when I was on the Wire, I was just a cop. I wasn't the black cop. It was such a
Yeah.
variety of people on the Wire. So
Right.
yeah, I would rather just
Right.
be looked at as a friend on the show. So
Yeah. There's so we brought up Ali and we brought up Sly Stone earlier, and those guys were both on the Dick Cavett show at one point. And we did this whole series, like this whole show on Sly Stone, and just kind of celebrating him instead of like talking about his legal issues and his addiction issues. We are like look at the incredible work this man has done. And so there's this great interview between he and Ali, and they're sitting there, and Ali is like saying, "We've got to get ours." Like I don't got time to wait for white people to get caught up. We're going to go forward. It's very powerful and very direct. Like, this is what we're going to do. Meanwhile, Sly is like, be cool, man. Let's all work together. Let's all and you look at Sly's band and everybody can sing lead. There's white people, there's women, there's
right,
all
right,
kinds of
right.
people, right? Two approaches, neither of them wrong. It's such a crazy conundrum, and again, like this question, like if that's in the early 70s, are we any better? Like, are we are we still divided on both sides? Like, how do we, like Ice Cube was talking right before President Biden got elected. He's like, hey, I want to get together with you guys, and I'm not worried about anybody else. I'm trying to get black people into business and being entrepreneurs. What are you guys going to do about that? Right.
Right.
And that's kind of an Ali message. But then you got a lot of people on the Sly side where they're like, hey, let's just all be one big community. It's just such a curious thing to me.
Hmm. I mean, I'm with it, man. I mean, I've got my best friend. I got best friends from every nationality you could think of.
Hmm.
So it's not a thing. I mean, like I say, I think a more diverse set is always good. I mean, all black sets, great.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just depending on the project, whatever it is, because it's. I just think inclusion is good.
Yeah.
If we're getting included in more, I just, and to piggyback off of what you said, I just hate that it's 2023 almost, and we're still saying, oh, this is the first black person to do this, or the first black to do
Yeah.
this. It's like, wow, it's been 60, 70 years, and we're still 50 to 60 years, and we're still saying the first black. It shouldn't even be that. We should just be included and just be equal. You know what I mean?
You know,
So
it, yeah, I mean, like, I'm sort of torn on this, right? And I'm trying to like, look, I'm a pretty nice guy and everything, but when they would say Tony Dungy is the first black coach to win the Super Bowl, and I'm like, how about just call him a Super Bowl champ?
right,
Like, why does he have to be the first?
first black.
Because then it's like, oh, this is the first black person to ever, and then it becomes this crazy thing where you're like, oh, okay, like they're a pioneer at this school, they're the first student body president, whatever it's going to be, and not that that's not important, but it seems like we pick these things, and they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's like just let them be people, just let them
Right.
be a leader. Like this woman, wow, is a leader, wow, at her university. Holy shit. Like,
Right.
but I don't know. And then again, why do I care who the student body president is from Harvard or whatever? Like,
Right.
I don't go there. So I don't know. I just
No,
want
I
to
get it.
believe, what I want to believe in people, man. I want to like just be like, I don't care who you are, what you do. If you come here, you got a real shot. If you just will be damned if you're going to be damned by this, right? Like, if
Right.
I'm not saying it's easy to become an actor, I'm not saying it's easy to become anything, but if you're bound and determined, it's pretty hard to stop someone in this country. We're not perfect, we're far from it,
Right.
but that's not true in a lot of places.
Right. Oh no, no, for sure. Absolutely. Like I said, yeah, yeah, you put your foot forward every day, man, you got a shot.
Yeah,
You definitely have a shot. So and you have an opportunity here.
yeah,
So we
you
got to be
do.
thankful for that because that's not around the world, that's not normal. So
It is not normal. So when you look at your career and where you're going, do you like, are there big things that look, obviously you're not done, right? So there's big things you want to do, but are there big things you're like, I think I'm going to get to this level next and I'm really going to get that lead that you talked about? Do you feel like you're building towards that? Are you there
absolutely.
where like they're going to start picking you?
I'm at an agency now where that's possible. My
Hmm.
management's good, my agency's good. I actually auditioned for the lead role in The Woman King
Mm.
with Viola Davis that just came out in was that no October.
Hmm.
I auditioned opposite of Viola Davis. Didn't get the part, and I
Hmm.
believe that is solely because it was an African movie that filmed in South Africa. I just believe they wanted African actors from there, and that's cool. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Viola Davis is the only American in the movie,
Yeah.
but I was
You're right.
just privileged to audition for that. You know,
Yeah. And you know how auditions go. Maybe you weren't right for that thing. And you probably weren't if they didn't pick you. Maybe they wanted someone from Africa. But that doesn't mean that they didn't see, those casting directors, man, they're there for a reason. They don't forget anybody. They're
they
like,
don't.
oh no,
They'll call you
I
two
know
years.
who we need.
They'll
Yeah.
call you 3 years from now, like, hey, that audition you
Uh-huh.
did. Hey, I think you're excellent for this part, and there it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When you think about playing roles, what do you think? Like, there's certain guys that have a vibe, right? Like, okay, you can play a cop, but you can do a lot more than that. What do you think? They always talk about show up on time, hit your marks, and tell the truth. But what is your truth? Like, when you're on screen, what can you not help but be?
like myself, like assertive. I mean, when I'm on
Yeah, like,
screen, I just
yeah.
I just want to, I just want to project the best myself, not acting in a character, just myself. I just want to project me on
Hmm.
camera, and then
Mm.
oh man, that's because I'm a martial artist, so Kung Fu, Wing Chun, Ip Man. you
Yeah.
know, so when I'm on camera, I just want to project the best image of myself, and I'm my hardest critic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll watch something and I won't even watch it when it comes on TV because I'll be like, man, I could have did this better, that better. Every soon as so I'm like, man, yeah. When even when I go back and watch any of the seasons I'm on from The Wire, I'm like, oh man, I could have said that better on this line. Oh man, I could have did this
Wow.
part better. But like I said, and like I said, I'm my own worst critic, like
Yeah.
anybody should be.
Yeah.
And
Are you perfectionist though, or are
yes,
you ever satisfied?
I am. I am
Okay.
satisfied, but sometimes it takes a lot to get there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't. I think how auditions are going nowadays. Right now we're doing a lot of self tapes versus going actually into the studio.
Yeah.
So I will shoot 5 auditions, and then I will be like, okay, it's due in the morning. Okay, let me rest for a couple hours. I got some very good auditions, but let me shoot 3 more.
Uh-huh.
Just and then I said, but that's just me. And really, honestly, when you look at all 5 of them, you can't even tell the difference. But for me, I'm like, oh no, my face was wrong right there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So you talking about you're redoing the same audition, or are you sending out a bunch of individual auditions to different projects?
but for both, but for each
Okay.
project, I redo I just film it over and over and over, and even when I think it's wonderful, I watch it again. I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
set everything back up and go again. So
What is that better than the face to face?
I'm gonna tell you what I
Yeah.
think. Going in, people can feel your presence better, right?
Hmm.
In person. Being at home, you can master it because you can do as many takes as you want. Going in is more of a cold audition. I mean, you have
Yeah.
your script already, but everything, but you're doing it there live with them in front
Right.
of them. They can feel
Right.
you, and if you hit that audition right and blow the room away, they can feel that. I'm not saying they can't feel it on video, but it's just a little different. You
I
know?
want to come back to that in a second. Um, what's more realistic though, right? Like, if you're going to be on something, you have time to prep. I mean, most things will give you some time to like practice and get ready, and it's closer, in my thought, to the video version of that. And then you have the hey, show up. You look around, you're like, oh, there's Omar Epps. Oh, there's like a whole bunch of dudes. Like, like I've been to auditions with my friend, my buddy Jay Moore. He's an actor, right? He shows up, and I'm like, dude, there's a whole bunch of comedians that are just like you, all with the same outfit on, same glasses and everything. And so you look
Yeah, I know
around,
Jay.
you're like, God damn,
Yeah.
I mean, it can psych you out, and like you don't like, I don't know what they want. How do I stand out?
That's how you
And
can tell you're moving up in your in your levels too, because
okay,
of the people that are at your auditions. when
yeah,
you
yeah,
I
yeah,
started seeing stars, and man, it's funny you say Omar Epps. I saw him before, so
yeah. Well, and like, I'm just trying to think of someone who's successful, right? And yeah, if you saw them in the room, you'd be like, okay, okay. You look around. Um, one thing that Jay does, and I know other actors, and they do the same thing. And you must either you do this or you felt this, where like when they lock in on you, it's like it blows you back. Like there's so much energy, just it's like a
right,
giant laser beam. You're like, God damn. And you have to learn how to withstand it.
right.
I does that come across on the screen? I mean, I feel like when Jay gets intense and he's like really like doing something with me, and I'm like, God, whew, and I know like I can take it now, but it's overwhelming. And I think it translates well for an actor to be able to just have that whoa, and it's hard to describe if you haven't felt it before, but there's just this
I know that.
force. Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny you bring that up. I tell people, um, that you have to get used to that. You have to get
Yeah.
very used to that because that when the first time I got on camera and was speaking, it was weird because I was
Mhm.
like, wow, this thing's in my face, like, boom, it's all you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, deer in headlights. Hi, mom. But you gotta get used to that. and once you
Yeah.
get past that feeling, I don't have that feeling anymore on set really at all.
Hmm.
But that is something that I thought about. Like, man, I said, man, you gotta get used to that camera in your face. And it's
Yeah.
it's not a little Canon camera.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And if you and Viola Davis are going back and forth at a powerful scene, right? Whoever it's going to be, and you're 3 feet apart having this impassioned scene, that same vibe is coming out of each other, right? Like where you're putting as much emotion into this thing as you can. And my belief is that however much you put in, only some of that gets into the TV, but that's why you need so much of it. It's like on
Right.
stage, big gestures on stage, because you need to fill the whole place up with that emotion, with that motion. So, how do you know? Like, do you just crank it up? Do you feel the other person? You're like, yeah, we're doing it, and you just churn yours up even more. How do you know how much energy to put into like a
You know what?
one-on-one scene?
That's an excellent question. And it's funny that we're talking about Viola because I remember Viola said this to Denzel. She was on maybe Fences. When they
Hmm.
did Fences together, and she was like on an interview, and they were like, "Well, how was it going?" And she was like, "Well, you know, he's up here on this scene. I'm gonna go up here."
Yeah,
And she went up there, and then she was like, "Was that too much?" Denzel was like, "Bring it all."
yeah, yeah,
Paint everything out, and no, it's not too much. So,
yeah.
when if I'm sharing the screen, I'm going to the top of where I
Right.
can go. So
Yeah. It's hard to describe that, like, unless you felt that in your day-to-day life, which not like if you work at a grocery store and the manager comes, maybe they're kind of angry at you, but this is a different thing where like this just is just like a flashlight that's turned up all the way up and you're like, God damn,
right.
and so you're like, yeah, cool, let's go bigger, right? And you go bigger still. How do you describe that feeling? Like, what does it feel like when someone steps it up and you know that the trust is there for you to ramp up your emotions as well?
Well, it's got to be when if like and it's just like rehearsing any scenes, because
Hmm.
in different classes and things like that. If we're not on set or we're doing a read, um, it's a weird feeling that you like, all right, and it's like an unspoken thing. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm turning it up.
Yeah.
We're gonna get this scene maxed,
Yeah.
and the emotion. I mean, and when you go there, for me, sometimes it takes a little time to calm back down to your regular
Mm.
self. Because when you take it there, man, you really take it there. Your whole body with everything gets into that scene, and it's just like, man, and you're like almost like an out of body experience a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like, man, I did that.
Uh-huh.
Whew. And it's
Yeah. Yes, you did. Yeah. Who stands out when you talk about that, like that ability to hit the ball back at you at 100 miles an hour because they know you're going to hit it right back? Like, who are people that you have those kinds of exchanges with?
hmm. um let's see. When I work with Dominic West
Hmm.
on the wire, we had a few exchanges that we were going back and forth, and it was like, Seth Gilliam, even Robert Wisdom. That's
Okay.
I talk to him to this day. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's yeah, he's almost from home. He's a DC guy, so
Oh yeah.
I think he's been in 100 movies, man, and I just think he just hits it out the park every time I watch him, man. So I talk to him on the phone a lot. We chop it up all the time. So
That's cool. Yeah. It's good to keep friends from different projects. Do
yeah,
you feel like, is that a norm for you? Like, do you keep, and is that a norm in the industry? Do people keep
I mean,
people
I'm
or do
I'm
they
pretty
kind of
sure
move
they
on?
do because on each set you kind of gravitate towards certain people,
Hmm.
and it just clicks.
Yeah.
And Robert Wisdom's older than me, so I kind of like gravitated towards him towards like a mentor.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
um, and man, I mean, just so yeah, on different things I've been on, I've befriended certain individuals, and it's just we click. We it's like it's not even work with us no more.
Hmm.
So it's just,
Yeah.
and I love that feeling. And speaking of that, I think that's why The Wire was so successful, because it felt like home every day you went to work.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that was and I'm not going to say I've been on some great sets. I've been on a
Yeah.
ton of sets. I've been on some great sets. I just think The Wire was so I don't know. The environment was so, everybody was just, and that's what made it work. Because when we were at work, it was like we were not working, and we're putting this great TV show together. So
Yeah.
I just think that's versus just actors getting together and coming to work because they're paid to come to work. A big
Right.
difference.
Let me see if I can make this work. Okay, so you're a martial artist and you'll practice a technique, and I'll just keep it simple, like a triangle step or a front kick or something like that, right? And maybe like a front kick is your move. Like, look out, you get in front of me, you're going to get a big old foot to the chest. There's not a damn thing you can do about it,
Right.
right? And so you can take that and push that to the elite level. Like I have this a professional grade front kick, but damn,
Right.
my back kick is kind of and so I
Right.
cover up by doing so, but it's okay, right? Like if your front kick is so dominant that you can just lean on. And I think acting is the same way, where if you have a mentor, like my buddy John, who I started the show with, he's a drummer, right? And he drums in a cover band and he's fantastic. But he's got friends who are really, really good drummers, and they look at him play and they're like, here's what I want you to do. And basically he does what they tell him to do, but the stuff they say has nothing to do with anything. And they're just breaking down part of his game and making him be uncomfortable and build
Right.
back up to loosen something up. And there's something that they see, even if it's just the exercise, right? And so if whoever's mentoring you, or if you watch someone incredible, like Jay talks about Tom Cruise and how, like, what an incredible, like, Tom Cruise can be fully engaged, laser beaming you and giving you minor screen directions as you're doing this. Like, he is just so great at that. He can do multiple things at one time, right? So when you get mentored, or when you're trying to look at yourself and looking for that excellence that you're talking about, what is it like? Are you trying to, maybe you're trying to do all of it? Are you trying to improve that one thing that you do great and make it even bigger? Or are you looking to try to improve that back kick? Where do you think your work needs to be?
Yeah. I definitely. I think some roles you use your dominant front kick,
Hmm.
and I think some roles is going to require you to use that back kick. So you're
Yeah.
going to be forced to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and you're going to have to get that back kick together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that's
Yeah.
how I feel, because some role, like you say, some roles I walk into, it's just like, oh, that's me. Oh, boom,
Hmm.
here goes 100 front kicks, and I'm done. In
Yeah.
some roles, I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, they want me to do that. Okay, all
Yeah.
right, that's a little different, but we're gonna do it. And that's my back kick. So I like how you put that. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's a good way to good description of it.
Well, and even if your back kick is black belt level, right? You're like, I'm still not getting it because there's still sloppiness in there. No one else can see it but you, but it's important to you.
Right.
But then, like, Matthew McConaughey, he'll say, like, once I know who the guy is, I'm done doing my prep. Like, once I know that guy, I can be that
Hmm.
guy. And you only put him in a role where he's going to know who that guy is. And
Right.
so, that's kind of the same thing, right? Like, this guy he just front kicks the fuck out of people,
Right.
you know?
Right. The whole movie front kicks. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Matthew McConaughey said that. Yeah, he said, once he knows who the guy is, he's done prepping, and that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. That's about as real as you can get on a general statement of a character. Once I know who this
Hmm.
character is, I'm good. I become him. Don't call me my first name anymore. Call me the character.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And does it have to be that way every time? If you're playing a cop on the wire, right? Like, do you have to know who this dude is? Or, like, if you're in a procedural, right? And you're just a regular guy showing you're bad guy number 12 for the week or whatever, do you need to know who that person is? Or is this a little more, and I'm not saying less than professional grade, but does it require as much in-depth understanding of who the guy is as opposed to, some other
no,
project? Or,
no,
or if your heart's
if
just
you,
not in it because, yeah.
I say like this. What you just said is, I say like this. If it's just if I'm villain number 12,
Yeah.
I'm going to act like a villain. I don't need to know nothing about that guy's background. Did he come up in a bad life or nothing? But I know how a villain acts.
Right.
So I'm gonna just take the villain approach on that because this is not a personal role.
Right. Yeah.
So, but
And then
if I'm playing John such and such, and I'm a notorious villain, and I had a and the movie comes on from age 7, then I
yeah.
gotta know who this guy is.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say you book a procedural, you're on Law and Order, and you're going to sit across from Mariska, right? And that's her show. Like,
Right.
are you allowed to push as hard as you want? Are you like, I'm going to fucking steal this scene from you by just blowing this thing up? And I don't mean the bad way, but you're just going to be competitive, or do you mind your manners?
No, I want them to tell me to tone it down.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
and it's not about stealing scene. It's I just don't want to. I don't want to bring the scene down
Yeah. Yeah.
by me holding back because of who I'm in front of. Because
Right.
she might be up here and I deliver down here. No,
Yeah.
she's up here. I got to be up here with her, or at least
Okay.
go up here.
Yeah.
And then there, and if the director and everybody perfect, we're like, hey Lee, can you tone it down just a tad? Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Now I know where they're at with it. Now I can say,
Yeah.
okay, let me back up a little bit off this scene, and then lay it like this. But if not, I'm gonna go to the. I got to. It's not about
Right.
stealing the scene,
Okay.
but I have to.
This is what I was trying to get to. Like, yeah, where do you default? So you just default big, like, here, I'm going to bring it as hard as I can. And if you need me to back off, let me know.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not disrespect,
No,
because
of course. Right.
at one point they were in my shoes.
Right. Right.
So
is that true for everybody? We'll say Mariska, but is that true for anybody who's in her kind of position where, like, this is her show and you show up and you're just like, I'm going to go to 12. That's what I do. Do they all dig
it might
that?
not be cool for anybody or everybody.
Right.
I think that's just my personality. That I say, hey, I want to deliver the best performance I can. And I don't want my performance to come on and like, okay, you did okay. That was decent. I don't want that kind of feedback. I want to be in the team, So
yeah, yeah. So I had a guy in the show. Yeah,
but
go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying that's just where I'm at with it. And like I say, it's no disrespect to any person, show, any actor, actress, lead.
Yeah,
it's just that I want to bring it just as much as you're bringing it on your show. That's all.
The the sports analogies I think are good here. Like I'm a Dodgers fan. I like the Dodgers, right? And right now they haven't signed a lot of new people, but I'm cool with that. I want every team to give us their damnedest. Like, bring it. We've got to be good enough, and I don't want someone not coming the best thing. So, if you've got Mariska across from you, like, you'd better give me your best, because I'm absolutely going to give you mine. And not everybody plays that hard, right? But it sounds like that's kind of how you're wired, at least initially. Not that you're not directable, but you're like, hey,
no, I'm absolutely directable now.
Yeah, right.
No,
but your default is to come at it.
It is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've been in that situation where I've just done the character, and somebody might say, hey, can you say it like this and put a little more? Oh, perfect. Okay, gave me direction. Now I'm gonna do it. But no, like I said, it's not about stealing scenes from the star or anything like that. I just want to give a strong performance every time a camera's on me. It's your money. It's my time.
Yeah.
I just want to give the best performance. Make people say, oh man, I really like that guy who plays such and such. Even if it's that one episode, I really liked him So
yeah.
Just leave something to people to remember me by,
Another guy who's my friend is an actor is Mark Valley. I don't know if you ever worked with Mark Valley at all, but he does what you're talking about. Like, you guys have this knack, like remembering lines is like secondary. You guys have that skill down, but that ability to be directable, to instantly change that one thing. And so I think you and I are playing around with a couple of things, and we're just goofing around. And I said, he was playing like he was like a millennial. And I'm like, you can't say, I think. You have to say, and you have to put your hand in your heart. You have to go, I feel like this is true, and it's so soft, and it's not like authoritative and confident. It's a really soft thing. And bam, he knew exactly what to do. He stood
Right.
right on that direction and is like right here. And I'm like, holy shit. Like he gave me the exact same thing, but in a completely different emotion. And I was like, see, this is what is like, I get it. I can see it happen. I can't do that. That's what you guys do. But it's incredible to me how well. And again, this goes like to the sports thing. Like when someone's like, okay, your fist needs to be here instead of here. And you're like, oh, okay. Every time it'll be in the right spot after that. Right. It's that ability to take direction at the micro level and just instantly implement that. That I think is a big difference between folks where you are and folks who are just getting started.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree on that. Um, yeah, like direction is big, and being able to change minute things
Mm,
in a scene can make, and it sounds like it's not that big of a deal, but it makes the whole dynamic of the scene like, whoa, like I see it from this way now, and people at home can see it from the way that they're trying to project
yeah.
it out now. And it's like I say, acting is it's deep, man.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah.
than just jumping up there in front of that camera and you think you can act tough, or you think you can act grandiose, or you think you can do all these different things, and nah, you got to practice and be able to switch personalities in a split second.
Right.
So
And twist that emotion knob to shades. Like,
mhm.
okay, love, like which love do you want? Like
Right,
there's so many things on the love dial, and love tinged with what? Love tinged with hate, love tinged with contempt, and
right,
and you all just have that. Like you have this spherical direction of emotions. You're like right there, this one. And then you go there and it's just like, how in the world, it's a neat it's an amazing skill that you guys can develop, and it works in so
and
many
some of it is
when
just life
it doesn't
experience.
work. Yeah.
Some of it's just life
What?
experience. Like
Yeah.
when
Mm,
somebody says, "No, I want okay, tweak it like this and do this," and then you're like, "That's the same thing I did 2 years
yeah.
ago
Yeah.
when I was involved with this person or something like that." We're talking about like a love situation. Oh, okay. Then you go back to that feeling, and as soon
Yep.
as you get that feeling, as soon as that feeling overcomes you, you're back in that relationship. It's kind of
Mm,
crazy, but when your mind can just adjust like that, and you're like, okay, all right. And some stuff you're not familiar with, but you still tweak it as much as you can to that
mm,
direction. So,
yeah.
uh,
There's a lot of things I want to ask you about, but I'm gonna go this direction. I don't know if you know Dominic I don't know who knows anybody. There are so many people in the acting world, but there's a guy named Dominic Santana, and he has played Suge Knight several times because
okay,
he looks like Suge Knight. Like he
I
walks in
think
the room, you're like, God
I, know,
damn.
I think I know what you're talking about.
One of the things we talked about was the damage that he worries about taking from playing and I'll just say Suge Knight is an evil person, right? He's physically dominant. He's done terrible things to people,
Right. Yeah.
and you have to play that role,
Right.
but at an outsized level. Like you're only seeing Suge at his worst when he's playing him, right? Like
Right.
you don't show Suge like kissing a baby or something like that. He's killing
Right.
people. He's intimidating you, right? And so he's like, I've got to be careful with this role. Yeah, I play it. I also don't want to get typecast, but I also don't want to mess myself up emotionally. And there are so many stories of
Right.
actors who lose control or never really have control of their emotions, and they're able to careen around until they're no longer able to do it, and that it becomes a real problem for them, and you
Right.
see that his Hollywood's full of these stories of people who just can't handle that emotional whatever you would call it, that just that left and right of your emotions, and all of a sudden boom, you jump the track and you're in a place where it's not healthy.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I know. I know exactly what you're talking about. I just know some personal people that have weren't actors, but emotionally they kind of lost it, and they ended
Yeah.
up on the other side of things, and it's so hard to work your way back. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Well,
I'm kind of thinking of people I know right now. One person in particular that kind of hits that right nail right on the head. So yeah,
especially
so
if that's what your front kick is being like a little bit whatever crazy, and then Hollywood's like, hey, this person plays crazy so great that all you ever get is this role,
Right.
and you're just driving yourself, because you enter that space, right? Some people truly become that thing while they're there, and
Yeah.
what a load to have to carry.
It seems like now, like it seemed like Heath Ledger kind of took that,
Mm-hmm.
took the Joker. Rest in peace to him. He kind of
Mm-hmm.
took that Joker role, and then I didn't see him turn off.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're vulnerable and you go in on a role like that, and then you add in any kind of chemical necessity,
Right.
and all of a sudden, man, it gets crazy. It gets real crazy real fast.
So
What are
that
you
was
working on now? So I know you got Snap. How long? That's 6 episodes. So what's coming up after that?
well, like I said, I had a meeting with my agent and everything. We're just trying to go into a, a direction. I want to get more into comedies because I love comedy. Got
Hmm.
a lot of comedian friends, so I've been doing some talking with them, and we're just going to try to explore that side of things. 2023. I've
Hmm.
been
Hmm.
I've been serious. Doctor roles. Cop roles. I've been getting a lot of cop roles. That's like, kind of funny because Denzel gets a lot of cop and military roles. I've been, so. Uh, but yeah, we're gonna try to explore the funny side a little bit. I got a friend of mine, director Gil Younger.
Okay.
Um, Wrote and directed Black Knight for Martin Lawrence,
Oh, nice.
and directed what's the show back with Queen Latifah, the TV show with Queen Latifah.
The Equalizer.
No, Living Single. I'm talking about back in
Oh,
the
Living
day.
Single. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
you
back in the day.
know,
Right. Right. Right.
10 Things I Hate About You that just came out a few years ago with Josh Duhamel and Megan Fox.
Right.
But he's back on the scene. He's back writing, and he said he said if you're funny, get your money.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I want to explore. So we're gonna try to focus a little bit on the funny side this year to see
Yeah.
what we can get, and we have some things in store. Uh, I've been doing some writing myself, so
I was going to ask. Yes.
so
Yeah.
been doing some writing myself, and we're gonna see what we can do with this year.
Nice.
I'm just going all in, everything,
Yeah.
not leaving no stone unturned. I'm just so
Yeah.
we're going
Yeah.
all in this year, and we're gonna have a good time at it too.
Business is back open, right? Getting in front of the
Right?
camera and making movies and shit. My
Yeah.
show yesterday, I had
Mhm.
on. No, actually, it was yesterday. My buddy Jeff Calhoun, he wrote this fantastic book, The Guide for Every
Uh,
Screenwriter. I love
Wow.
this thing,
Okay.
and I'm plugging it not because he's paying me, but like the goddamn book is so good. It's
Right.
such a good guide. Like if you're anybody who's trying to be a screenwriter, like you just open it up and it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like you put all these things
Perfect.
together, and anybody in your business, like, okay, I'm acting, I'm getting gigs. How do I do it? Why don't I write my own thing? Right. I mean, Tyler Perry got there not because people were knocking down his door for him to come, play characters there. He got there by like, I'm going to make a movie. I'm going to find money. And I made a movie. Like
Right.
he was, he was not going to be stopped. John Singleton, rest his soul. Another guy, he's like, I'm going to tell these hard ass stories and nobody's going to stop me, and so
Right.
it's great that you're writing. I love that.
Yep. Absolutely, man. I mean, I have that same attitude towards as far as my consistency and not being stopped. I don't. I'm just. One door closes, three open. That's my attitude. So
Hmm.
I'm just.
Yeah.
I've been told a million times that does not affect me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so another guy I know, he's made a lot of music videos. I know a couple of guys have done this. And what they both have said is like, look, I make music videos because that pays for this big fancy house in Hollywood. And
right,
then when I have these windows of time I can block out, then I get to do my thing, and they just do their thing, but they let the other work that maybe they're not 100% invested in, but they're 100% professional. And they're
right.
like, that's work. This is art. That's work.
That's
This is art.
work.
And if you can build that balance, man, I mean, these guys get to do what they want to do,
Right.
and not as often as they'd like, but they also get to work a lot too. And so it's one of those things where because they can do a lot of different things well, they get a lot of rewards from it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good. They can do it like that, man. Not everybody has that advantage to do it like that, man. That's a blessing to do it, to be able to go
They
back and
put themselves through a lot too.
right,
Like this, it's not a gentle living. Like this is,
right.
like there's high expectations on them and everything. What when you look at comedies and that kind of thing, but my buddy Jeff, I brought him up because he was saying he thinks that rom-coms are going to make a real comeback because we've seen all the superhero movies we need to see. Like they're going to still make them and that kind of thing, but there's such a space now because like a good rom-com, it's just a good rom-com. It's like a horror movie can
My
be a
favorites is
two-star
Serendipity.
movie.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. What's that?
One of my favorites is Serendipity.
Yeah.
Uh,
What is that one? I've got to look that up.
that's with
Keep going.
John Cusack, Kate Beckinsale. What's my man's name? He's my guy too. But yeah, John Cusack, Kate Beckinsale. Like it's called Serendipity. That's like
Uh-huh.
I get my things, man. Where every day, where when I got some downtime, I just sit down and watch like 10 rom-coms back to back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, those are excellent movies. Something about Mary. All those movies, man. I love those movies. I would love to do a rom-com. So
Yeah. And you really can write them because it doesn't, that's my point about horror movies. A horror movie doesn't have to be a great movie. It just needs to hit the marks for a
right,
horror movie. And rom-coms are really, look, we all know what's going to happen. Two people who probably knew each other before or aren't supposed to know each other, they meet.
right.
And then there's a spark. And then they break up. And then the big romantic gesture happens and they get back
right,
together.
right,
Like that's the formula every time. And then maybe there's a twist here and there. But
right,
goddamn, I love them. I love
right.
them every time.
Absolutely, man. That's the same formula, but I watch them all, man. It's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for those ensemble big movies, like when everything comes colliding, like all these different storylines, and they all just come smashing together at the end. Like Love Actually. I love that movie. It's so
Right,
good.
right.
Like, it's just,
That
and
was
I'm like, here we go. If it comes
yeah,
on, I got to go on the ride every time.
right.
Every time. If you're flipping through the channels and you see certain movies, there's certain ones you're just going to watch all the time. What
All the
gets
time.
you no matter what?
Scarface is one of those movies for me. That's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if I'm turning and I see Al Pacino at the beginning, I'm like, all right, we're gonna sit back and chill and watch this for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And you can get me with Godfather too. If I
Oh, yeah.
jump in, I'm like, yep, I'm going to be sitting here all damn day, If Smokey and the Bandit comes on,
Oh, yeah.
man, I love that movie. I love that
Cannonball
movie.
Run was it for me too.
Oh, yeah,
The first Cannonball Run,
hilarious.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything Burt Reynolds is really awesome to me because he's great when he's funny and he's just a great actor,
Yeah.
He does something. What is it about Burt Reynolds? Look, John Cusack is, I think, the opposite of Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds is all machismo, and everything. And then I don't know. I mean, what makes those people so good at what John Cusack does not approach it the same way? Why is he good? How come I have to always watch that guy?
Oh no, John got a good, John was back in the day when he came up. He wasn't part of the Brat Pack, but he was in the Brat Pack mix. I mean, as far as his age goes.
Right.
So, so anything that one of the famous, I guess, The Sure Thing was a movie that was an '80s classic.
Yeah.
He was in love with Nicole Sheridan, I believe, and that was the girl he wanted, but he wound up being with somebody else.
Right. Rom-com.
John Cusack. I mean, he just cool. He just he's like the cool guy. He's not the flashy macho. every woman
Yeah.
wants me guy, but he's just a cool guy, and it's like funny. He hits
Yeah.
the mark. So I like John Cusack movies, man. He's
Yeah. No, I like his movies too. And you're just sort of, you're just sort of stuck with it. Like you're just like, there he is. He's doing it. And he feels so here's the thing for me, Lee. John Cusack, because we're basically the same age. Like I was born in 70. He's probably born in 67 or something like that, right?
right,
And his just like my older brother, so he's just so attainable to me. Like
right,
I know this dude. Every time he plays
absolutely,
something, I'm like,
right,
I
yeah.
know this, you know?
No, that is
Yeah.
that is it. That's the relatableness that you have with him because, yeah, he like I said, he's like the big brother, that he doesn't get into too much trouble. He's kind of clean slate,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. Oh, and Jeremy Piven is in uh the movie Serendipity with John Cooper.
Synchronous. Oh, serendipity. Serendipity. Yeah. Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah,
Um, we had Lorenzo Lamas on the show, and he talked about Renegade and how that was going to be like a bank account for him for the next forever. But another company bought it, and they just worked it like a rented mule. And he got nice big residual checks for a while, but then they got down to nothing. And he's Lorenzo Lamas. He's got all kinds of like you must just get a wad of checks in the mail, but a lot of them he's like,
about 1,000 checks.
yeah, for 35 cents, It's like, God damn because the number gets smaller and everything, and it's
Like, man, it
crazy.
costs more to mail the check.
Yeah, no, he said that he's like there are checks I get, and not all the time, right? He's doing fine, but he's like there's checks I get all the time out of. They have to pay me, but they cost more to send the check. And then you have the other end of this. I had Gene Kelly's wife,
Okay,
Patricia, on the show,
okay,
and Gene's work predates residuals, so he got paid $200,000 a year to make whatever movies that were going to be made, and that was it. There was no more money for that. And so she doesn't have this cushy living. I mean, you cannot be a bigger Hollywood person than Gene Kelly. He is
right, for
one of the
sure,
golden age biggest people. He's bigger than Brad Pitt. I mean, people still talk about Gene Kelly's work today,
right,
but there's no checks coming in the
right.
mailbox, and it blows my mind. You think about people who were predate that era. They own
Wow,
everything. If
man,
she wants to make a likeness and image deal with somebody, she's got to go to Paramount, whoever owns his image, to get approval to go and do that. They're business partners for eternity. Isn't that crazy?
right. Wow, wow,
Yeah.
yeah. Gene Kelly, yeah, you think, wow, predate residuals, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
It is crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I don't want to take any more of your time. I've had you on for an hour. What else do you want to get into? What do you want to close with?
No, man, I just want to thank you for having me, man. I enjoyed myself. It was great talking to you, Pete, man. We feel like I know you for 100 years already, brother.
Oh man,
But
that's good.
but nah, man. Like I said, just look forward to that show, and you can follow me on my Instagram at Lee_Everett_Cox, um, Facebook Lee E Cox, and yeah, I mean, I got a lot of stuff. I announced things that's coming up, but like I said, we're just going to try to rip 2023 open. This is
I
be the
love it.
first wide open year with no kind of COVID restrictions. Still, first half of 2022 was a little bit kind of
Hmm.
freed up now a little bit. Lately the past 3 or 4 months, 5 months, but I just can't wait now to 2023, man, because it's just a lot of good things coming up, and I'm excited. I'm very excited. So I just want to work, 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 work. You know, I'm a single
Yeah.
dad. Just me and my daughter. I have an older son. He just graduated college, but I'm a single. It's just
Oh,
me and my daughter.
congrats.
So,
Yeah.
so
The best
she.
thing about having a college graduate kid, like my daughter's 25, she's got a job. I can just watch her be her. Like I'd like to
Right,
walk behind her and just watch, like she's a human. She's an
right.
adult. I'm just like, this is so great. Like I don't have to tell her to wear a jacket or nothing. I love it. It makes my heart just so excited, to see her
I'm
doing
laughing
that. And that's
because I'm laughing because that's just the discussion me and my daughter had the other day about wearing a jacket.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell her, I'm like, hey, I'm not telling you to wear a jacket because I don't think you know how. I'm telling you because I have to as a dad, but I know you know how. So just bear with me, you know. Um, everybody should go check out Snap. It's on AMC and it's coming out on Thursday. That's a couple of days from now. So you just go check that out. It's 6 episodes and watch that
It's
thing.
going to be a
And
great show, mind blowing show. It's definitely there.
psychological thriller.
Really,
Yeah.
that's what they naming it as, the psychological thriller. And it's going to take you a lot of different places emotionally when you watch this.
That's what we want, man. That's what we want. All right. Well, listen, everybody go check him out. Yeah. You follow him on social media, Lee E Cox, and you'll find him. And hey, listen, when you have projects, come on the show. Let's talk about them again.
Absolutely, man. I love to do that. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up. Stand by 1 sec.
Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by yours truly.